Now that we've gone through the procedures to safely tow your vehicle and we've arrived at the campground, there's a few things we need to go over before we actually get the camper on the campsite. The first thing you want to look at is the campsite itself. You want to make sure the ground is relatively level. You want to find where your electrical connection is, your water connection, and your sewer connection if you have one. You also want to check the site, make sure there's no low-lying limbs from the trees. That way you don't hit your camper on anything. And the other thing you want to do is you want to know your trailer really well. You want to know where the water hookup is and where the electrical hookup is, and also where the sewer discharge is. So why don't we go ahead and let's check the site out, and then let's get the trailer backed in. Now that we've backed the trailer onto the site, there's still a few more things that we have to do before we get camping. The first thing that we want to do is chalk the wheels. We need to chalk the wheels so we make sure the trailer doesn't roll forward or back while we're unhooking it from the truck. Once we have the wheels chalked, we'll actually unhook the trailer from the truck. Then we'll go through leveling the trailer and using the stabilizing jacks to make sure your camper is stable on the site. It's always a good idea to carry some boards and some bricks or some pads with you as you go camping. That way when you're getting ready to unhook the truck, you can basically put some bricks down underneath your tongue jack, and that way your tongue jack rests on the bricks and not on the soft ground. That prevents the camper from actually sinking into the ground. It gives you a little bit more stable foundation. Our wheel chocks are in place and the camper is relatively level from side to side, so let's go ahead and get the trailer disconnected from the truck. We'll crank the tongue jack down just so it gets to the bricks. Once you feel it get to the bricks, then we'll move on to actually disconnecting the coupler from the truck. As you can see, the coupler in this case has got a little bit too much pressure on it and we can't quite unlock it. So we're probably going to have to move the truck forward just a little bit so that we can take some of the pressure off that coupler and get this unlocked. Now we're going to disconnect both of your safety chains from the tow vehicle, and we're going to disconnect the electrical plug. Now we're going to finish extending the tongue jack until the trailer is off of the ball of the truck. Then you want to make sure it's high enough that when you pull away, your truck ball clears the trailer so you don't pull it forward at all. The last thing you want to do, your breakaway switch. You got to make sure that's disconnected so that you don't pull away and pull that out. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to try and stabilize the trailer with our stabilizer jacks. With every cruiser RV that has manual stabilizer jacks, you get a crank that looks like this, and all you'll do is put it on the end of the stabilizer jack and you'll crank them down until they're tight. We've taken just a few minutes to put all the stabilizer jacks down and make sure the camper is relatively level to the rest of the campsite. Next thing we're going to do is move the tow vehicle out of the way, give us a little room to work, then we'll hook up the electrical and the water. Now we're going to go ahead and get hooking up the power and the water and the sewer connections to the camper. The first thing we're going to look at is the power supply. Your cruiser RV is going to come with a power cable. The power cable is going to be rated for the camper. Some of our campers are going to be 30 amp service and some of our campers are going to be 50 amp service. So just make sure when you get to your campsite, you know that you're either going to need 30 amp or 50 amp. So the cable that comes with this camper, which is a Shadow Cruiser 312 FPS, is a 30 amp power cord. So you plug that end in to the power box, then we'll move to the camper and we'll plug the other end in. Then we'll come back and we'll flip the breaker. Hopefully we'll have power. The next thing we're going to do is the water lines. We'll actually hook with a standard water hose, a 25-foot long water hose. We'll hook it to the camper's water supply, and then we'll hook it to the actual camper itself. Just a couple things to note when you're connecting your sewer. Your sewer hose is going to have a standard connection. Just take your cap off, put your sewer hose on, and it just snaps into place. When you're hooked up to sewer full time, you want to make sure that your valves are in the closed position. That means the valve is pushed in. That way the sewer smell doesn't come back up into the camper. Now that we've got our water and our power connected, we're going to run the slides out, we're going to run the awning out, then we're going to go inside and we're going to finish getting things ready, and then we'll be ready to be camping. The first thing we're going to do though is run the slides out, and our control panel for the slide is right inside the door. The Shadow Cruiser 312 FPS has two slide outs. The only thing you want to make sure of is that the slides have an unobstructed reach and they can move freely before you actually hit the button. Just a couple of other items to go over while we're on the outside of the camper. The first one we'll talk about is your propane tanks. There are a few appliances in your camper that are going to run off of propane gas. Your propane tanks are on the very front of the trailer, and if you want to power your water heater with the propane rather than electric, you can do that. And your stove on the inside of the camper is also propane driven. So to turn your propane on the inside you'll have a valve for each tank. You'll just twist it to the on position on each tank. Now let's go take a look and see how the awning operates. We hope you've enjoyed all of the features of the Shadow Cruiser 312 FBS that we've shown today. You can visit your local dealer, or you can visit our website at www.cruiserrv.com. You can learn about all the new features for 2015. We've got new, larger, improved slide outs. We've got larger awnings with built-in integrated speaker systems. We've got new radio systems, more creature comforts, and you're getting it all in a lightweight, very towable travel trailer. We hope you've enjoyed. Have a great day.